Hey YouTube. Comes up a lot, people talking about how you can't be moral without some sort of higher power giving it to you. In my last video, replying to Philo71, I sort of touched on it very briefly, but I wanted to make another video to just expand a little bit on what exactly morality is in a secular context, and if it's even possible to have morality without a higher power giving it to you. But I guess I'd have to start by explaining that they're the Christians, in the case that I will talk about in this video, are right. You can't be moral in the sense of morality that they are talking about without the higher power, because by the typically religious use of the word moral, it literally means following the rules of conduct. The rules of conduct, in the case of Christianity, are set down by God. So the only way you can be moral in the Christian context is following the Bible. However, most people, when they talk about morality, don't talk about it in that context. They talk about it in the context of being sort of not being an asshole, basically, being a decent person. You know, not going around killing and pillaging and all of that kind of stuff is sort of standard, accepted, practical morality, I guess you could call it, that is considered moral regardless of religious affiliation. And in that instance, they are definitely not correct in saying that God has laid down those morals, because you'd actually have to ignore huge chunks of God's laws to be moral in that sense. He actually, in the Bible mandates murder in certain situations. It mandates violence against people. It is accepting of slavery, of incest, of many things that the typical Christian would usually consider immoral in a general kind of a context. So there's a disconnect between the technical religious morality of the Bible, being the inerrant word of God and passing those morals down to humans, and the practical morality that most people would talk about every day when they say that they're doing something moral or immoral. And I'm just not sure why that disconnect exists so much, other than to explain why morality comes from people and is put into the Bible, as opposed to coming from the Bible and put into people. And that is to say, morality is an intrinsic phenomenon of life. People wrote the Bible. They were, for the most part, moral in their own opinions, and their opinions of what was and wasn't moral got injected into the Bible, as opposed to the Bible being inspired by God and thus having sort of a pure religious morality to it. That also explains why people today tend to pick and choose their sort of moral compass directions from different parts of the Bible and ignore other parts. Which is something that it would be totally incompatible with the concept of an actual higher power, giving the morality to them through the Bible. And that is, they are using their own morality that is intrinsic to them to justify which parts of the Bible they would like to follow and which parts they don't, based on their own opinions, their own biases, their own personal history, etc. And I'd be very curious to get any responses from Christians or other religious people of different varieties on how they justify that sort of compartmentalization of their personal beliefs and biases versus the Bible, the Quran, whatever their religious text might happen to be. I'm most familiar with Christianity, so that tends to be where I go, but it certainly applies to other religions as well. So yeah, let me know what you think. You know, comments, video responses, private messages, whatever. And if there's any questions, anything anyone would like me to expand on or explain further, just let me know, and I'll do my best. Thanks. See you later.